So North Korea is not exactly known to be run by sane people, but I guarantee you, whatever you've heard on the news is only the tip of the iceberg. You're watching Google Professor, and today you will hear about 10 insane but true things about North Korea. Number 10 is its size and power. Despite being able to terrify half the planet with their threats, the country of North Korea isn't very big at all. It ranks 97th on the list of biggest countries. But when it comes to their standing army, North Korea has the 4th largest on Earth with 1.2 million soldiers. To put that into perspective, literally 1 in every 25 citizens is an enlisted soldier. They also have the largest submarine fleet and special forces in the world. Also, current estimates claim that it has around 10 plutonium warheads and 1,000 ballistic missiles that can hit a target up to around 12,000 kilometers away. Number 9 is Kim Jong-il kidnapped filmmakers. In 1978, two filmmakers, Shin Sang-ong and Choi In-hee, were kidnapped in Hong Kong and brought to North Korea. The pair, who were actually married, were taken 6 months apart, with Choi serving as bait for Shin's capture. After 5 years of captivity, they were reunited and forced by Kim Jong-il to make films that would put North Korea on the map. Given nearly unlimited budgets, Shin was told to emulate South Korean and Western blockbusters while still keeping the propaganda flowing. He and Choi pulled this off pretty well, even winning an award for one of their films. Their most famous film was called Palgasari and was an obvious knockoff of Godzilla. The two filmmakers escaped their guards while visiting Vienna in 1986, though the North Korean government claims that they were never prisoners. Number 8 is elections. It might seem incredibly strange that North Korea holds elections, but it's actually true. Every 5 years, a countrywide election is held, but with only one name on the ballot. In this case, Kim Jong-un. Voters are allowed to cast their ballot for someone else, but in order to do so, they must scratch off the leader's name. Voter turnout is nearly perfect, with almost every citizen able to vote and doing so. And apparently, every single one of them selects the Democratic Front for the reunification of the fatherland. While the North Korean government claims that this is due to the unanimous loyalty that the people have for the godly Kim Jong-un, the reality is that voting isn't really anonymous. What that means is that anyone who scratches out a name in this show election can be identified and dealt with. Number 7 is wealth and corruption. According to Chosun Ilbo, a South Korean news organization, Kim Jong-un is worth nearly $5 billion. While his people starve and bodies pile up every day, the North Korean leader is ranking in money from not only the legal sources a politician has, but some very illegal ones too, such as counterfeiting, weapons dealing, and the sale of narcotics and other drugs. Citizens go hungry, but the leader eats the finest imported cheeses and drinks expensive champagne. They lose power and live in ruined buildings, while he has his own island and lives alone in a giant palace. Every year, a paper is published outlining the nations that are the most evil. Guess which one tops that list? Known as the Corruption Perceptions Index, the list placed North Korea near the top with Somalia and Afghanistan. Number 6 is Kim Il-sung's legacy. Although there is obviously a leader calling the shots in North Korea, he's not seen as the true leader. That title is eternally held by his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, despite the fact that he's quite dead and Kim Jong-un is still very much alive. Il-sung was the founder of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and was the communist leader from 1948 until his death in 1994. North Korea still recognizes him as their sitting president, and the government still operates under the rules created while the late supreme leader was alive, making it the world's only necrocracy. As of today, a number of things are named after him, including stadiums, a university, and at least one bridge. But just to remind the citizens of North Korea who is in charge, there are about 34,000 statues of Kim Il-sung, one for every 750 people. Number 5 is the education system. The education system in North Korea is much like those in other countries. However, it comes with a few bizarre rules. For example, in the 1990s, the government decided that all teachers across the country had to learn to play the accordion if they wished to continue educating young minds. Meanwhile, the parents of those young minds were expected to provide not only pens and paper, but the students' desks, chairs, and building materials which students use to produce goods for the government. As if that wasn't enough, they are also required to give cash installments to cover heating fuel for the classroom. In an effort to keep their children from doing hard labor at school, parents often keep them home or bribe their teachers, which can be dangerous. But despite this, North Korea claims to have a literacy rate of 100%. Number 4 is the economy. North Korea's threats and military power leave many feeling intimidated, but when it comes to their own people, the greatest fear is mostly living from one day to the next. And that's because around half of the population of the country lives in extreme poverty. Nearly 12 million citizens live without basic human requirements for survival, many of them completely without heat to warm themselves or cook their food. Millions of them survive on just corn or kimchi, which is made from salted and fermented vegetables. The annual GDP per capita ranks at 197th in the world and is only around $1,800. Even keeping the lights on is difficult, as the entire country's power grid is in severe disrepair, leaving millions without power for hours at a time. Number 3 is Kijong-dong. With electricity being as scarce as it is in North Korea, you would think their government would be as sparing as possible with it, but instead, they waste a huge amount of it on unsuccessful attempts to draw defectors from South Korea. That attempt includes Kijong-dong, a town constructed near the Korean border simply to make it look like things were better in the north. Kijong-dong, or Peace Village, was built in the 1950s and features brightly painted multi-story buildings that the North Korean government claims houses of 200 families who simply love it there. But of course, a closer look reveals that there are no windows or even interior rooms within the concrete shells, and the only people living there are maintenance crews and soldiers. Most of the world now calls this fake town Propaganda Village, but not North Korea. They would affectionately call it Happy Sunshine Village. Number 2 are the punishments are insane. With the government as corrupt as North Korea is, it's no wonder their laws are so ridiculous. It's even illegal to watch South Korean movies or be a Christian. In fact, in November of 2013, women and children were dragged into a sports stadium and forced to watch as 80 people allegedly guilty of those two ridiculous crimes were publicly executed via machine gun fire. Now that sounds awful, however, they might have gotten off easy, because those who weren't executed are placed in horrible work camps, adding to the 200,000 prisoners who are already there. They are questioned for days and forced to write false confessions, but the worst part of the North Korean justice system is the 3 generations of punishment rule. When a person breaks the law, their parents, grandparents and children are often sent to work camps along with them. And number 1 are the Kims are gods. As insane as it may sound, the Kims seem to believe that they possess omnipotent powers and have a history of trying to convince the people of North Korea of just that. Apparently, when King Jong-il was born, it was under a double rainbow and a new star formed in the sky. He was talking and walking before he was 6 months old, never urinated or defecated, and every time his mood would change, so would the weather. These facts are actually taught to children in school and are part of the official biography of Kim Jong-il that the North Korean government has released. His body is embalmed and on display in a glass case at what has become the country's most popular attraction. The tour guides even go on about his incredible godlike powers. The claims of godliness are to keep the people scared and clearly are ridiculous. So that was 10 insane but true things about North Korea that you probably didn't know, and now you do. And if you guys enjoyed this, remember to give it a big thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the little bell beside the subscribe button so that you never miss a thing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.